Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, Kentucky lawmakers are hoping to help Kentuckians deal with increasing car taxes, the latest on their efforts. Plus, continued push for more tornado relief for Western Kentucky.
After a dry start to the work week, some showers may return to the mountains as soon as tomorrow. I'll have the very latest on the way right now at 5:30.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. I'm Dakota Makris. Property tax bills on your cars will start going out from Kentucky County clerks in a few days, and you might be shocked at the higher price. The value on new and especially used cars has soared during the pandemic. That's reflected in your property taxes. And as WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains, some Kentucky lawmakers say bills filed this year could provide some relief.
The lot at Paul Miller Ford in Lexington has few, if any, new cars on it.
And most of the inventory that we do get is pre-ordered from people, so when it hits here, hits the lot, it's gone within a matter of minutes.
New car supply problems translate to more dealers selling more used cars. Used cars' value is increased, and that's reflected in your property tax bill.
Hopefully we can address this issue of the distorted market rate, potentially put a freeze and use the previous year's assessment for this year to provide some relief.
That's the purpose of Flannery's House Bill 6. There's a similar bill in the Senate.
I think it's appropriate that anyone that has paid a higher rate than they should have, that they get a refund on that.
People are paying more in sales tax, and now they're going to be paying more in property tax because NADA guides and everything has increased their values to accommodate for it because banks can't give loans on vehicles that aren't worth the money.
Flannery also says the Revenue Cabinet has opted to use a higher rate, a higher value of a clean trade-in.
Just contrary to what state law is, and they did that without really any, proper procedure to make that change.
But Revenue Cabinet officials say vehicle tax rates have not increased. They say the tax rate has remained the same as previous years.
The executive branch cannot increase tax rates. That is done by the legislature.
Both bills are yet to be heard in committee. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, if passed, the House bill will allow people who have already paid car tags this year to get a refund for overpayment. Well, just moments ago, the Kentucky State Senate gave final approval on a $2 million tornado relief bill. The House passed it earlier this afternoon. The bill now goes to the governor for his signature. $45 million will be spent immediately on housing and on schools. State Budget Director John Hicks said he will continue to ask the General Assembly for relief money. Many lawmakers on the House floor passionately said they support this spending.
I'm proud to stand here and say this body did not forget about them. We're not going to forget about anybody in the state of Kentucky. This $200 million going towards Western Kentucky is a clear indication that we will all stand together.
Lawmakers who spoke in favor of House Bill 5 emphasized the need for more financial help for tornado survivors in the months to come.
Keeping an eye on our sunset around the region so far this evening. Potential is there for actually some pretty nice western skies as we head later on into tonight. Milder air as well. 51 right now at London Corbin Airport. A peaceful sunset at the moment there at the airport. Let's take you on up. Well, we were going to show you the studio camera. Let's actually show you Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County. A beautiful shot there as the sun falls below the horizon. Just a beautiful shot out there. Low 50s for many of us, already dipping into the upper 40s. A typical cooler night, not necessarily where we should be for this time of year, but either way, not too bad out there. Feels like temperatures remain right around where those air temperatures are as well. A few clouds pushing through this evening. Those are going to move on out for now, but another round of clouds will try to move in along with a weak frontal boundary as we head into the day on our Thursday. So keep that WYMT weather app handy because we look to drop into the 30s overnight despite clouds moving in, but we don't fall that much. I'll have the latest on our shower chances on Thursday and when some wintry weather could return coming up in just a few minutes. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you so much. Well, more older Americans are dying from opioid overdoses. A Northwestern medicine study found opioid-related deaths increased more than 1,800% over a 20-year span, with disproportionate rates among black men. Doctors say many baby boomers continue recreational drug use into older age, and physicians often do not screen for misuse in that age bracket. A federal judge in New York has denied Prince Andrew's request to dismiss a sexual complaint against him. Virginia Giuffre is suing the British royal for allegedly having sex with her when she was only 17 years old. Now, she claims the late Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her and forced her to have sex with his friends, including Prince Andrew. Now, she alleges the prince knew she was underage at the time. The judge ruled her civil complaints is not unintelligible or vague and is allowing the case to continue. Well, the Department of Justice has launched a new unit focused on increasing the threat of domestic terrorism. A top national security official told lawmakers this week that the number of FBI investigations into suspected violent extremists has more than doubled over the past 2 years. Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
Just days after the one-year anniversary of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, the Justice Department announced it will launch a new unit focused on the rising threat of domestic terrorism.
The number of FBI investigations over the past 2 years since March of 2020 has more than doubled.
Assistant Attorney General Matthew Olson said a team of attorneys will focus on the threats and make sure cases are coordinated at the federal level and across the country.
It ensures consistency, it ensures continuity, and especially it ensures that these investigations receive the priority that they deserve.
Thomas Warwick, former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary for Counterterrorism Policy, says the new unit signals to extremists that these cases will be a priority. He believes last year's U.S. Capitol attack is one cause for the spike.
Threats to lawmakers actually are one of the most dangerous threats to American democracy.
The U.S. Capitol Police Department counted around 9,600 threats last year alone, a big concern heading into a critical midterm election year.
I think what we're going to see as we ramp up to the election in November is going to be an increased need to keep the entire process peaceful.
Warwick says threats will require a swift response from federal, state, and local law enforcement. Natalie Brent, CBS News, Washington.
The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th U.S. Capitol assault issued a new round of subpoenas this week for records and testimony from 3 Trump allies. 2 of the individuals served as strategists for the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., and his girlfriend. The third person subpoenaed is a former White House official who helped the former president draft the speech he gave at the preceding rally where he encouraged those attending to march to the Capitol. Well, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are honoring the late former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Reid's body is lying in state at the Capitol Rotunda today. The Nevada Democrat served in the U.S. Senate for 3 decades. President Joe Biden, who served with Reid in the Senate, called him one of the all-time great Senate Majority Leaders in our history. Reid died December 28th after a 4-year battle with pancreatic cancer. He was 82 years old. President Joe Biden's popularity took a dip over the past few weeks. His approval rating sits at 42%, according to a CNN poll. Polls released Wednesday. Now that's down 3 percentage points from last survey taken in late December. In the most recent survey, Biden's disapproval rating increased 2 points to 53%. And the Biden administration plans to send out 10 million COVID tests to schools across the country. Now, this comes as case count hits record highs across the U.S. The CDC saying the Omicron variant now accounts for 98% of new cases. The U.S. is averaging 751,000 cases a day. That's up 47% from last week. Nearly 20,000 daily hospitalizations and 1,600 deaths a day.
The sudden and steep rise in cases due to Omicron is resulting in unprecedented daily case counts, sickness, absenteeism, and strains on our healthcare system.
Now, the CDC says it is updating the information on its website about masks, but it is not changing any recommendation, saying the best mask is the one that you will wear and keep on all day long. A CDC forecast published Wednesday predicts there could be more than 62,000 new coronavirus deaths over the next 4 weeks. Now, that could mean an average of 2,624 deaths per day, significantly less than a year ago. But deaths have been going up since January 5th. The CDC director said she thinks the recent jump in COVID deaths is still because of the Delta variant, not the Omicron variant. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, the virus has killed more than 842,000 people in the U.S. so far. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is apologizing for attending a gathering a year and a half ago. Now, it happened May 20th of 2020 in a garden at his official Downing Street residence. Now, at that time, strict COVID restrictions in the United Kingdom prohibited such gatherings. Johnson says he attended the party for about 25 minutes before going inside to work. Now, he indicated he believed it was a work event. Members of the opposition party called the excuse ridiculous, and some are even calling for him to resign. Well, coming up here on Mountain News at 5:30, a new report shows how much Americans are spending on everyday goods, from groceries to gasoline. We'll share the latest measure of consumer prices.
And more showers could be moving in as soon as tomorrow as a weak system pushes through. We'll have the very latest on the way. Stick around.